Hello, are we live? Good morning. How are you? I need to find my comments so I can see all of your wonderful chats. How are we this morning? How are you? How are you doing? I'm getting there. I'm wide awake. I've been wide awake since like 1 a.m. this morning. So I feel like it's going to be a hard crash later today. But I'm here now, which is what matters. I've got my coffee. I've got my ice roller for my face. And this will wake you up. We're on day 9 of our self-love journal and waking up with intention lives. We've been doing this for almost 2 months. Are you proud of yourself that you have been here? This is very cold. Okay, my alarm is going to go off again because I forgot to turn it off. I hit the snooze button instead of turning it off. And I don't actually know how to turn it off. Oh, there it is. Stop alarm. Shh, I'm already awake. I don't need you to yell at me anymore. The shared experience of imperfection. How ironic. I feel like that's every one of these mornings is just me sharing how imperfect I am as a YouTube creator with all of you. Nobody's perfect. That's one fundamental law of human existence. Find a quiet space and reflect on the following. If nobody is perfect, why do I feel like I need to be? Our daily intention is in what areas do you feel the need to be perfect? Why do you think this is? Do you expect perfection from others? If not, why do you expect it from yourself? I want to know. Let me know. Is there anything that you find that you need to be perfect on? Is there anything that you're super hard on yourself that you wouldn't be hard on other people about? This is a very common thing that most people struggle with is we hold ourselves to a higher standards than what we hold other people to. This feels so good, but it is so cold. Ice rolling is good for like lymphatic drainage and waking your face up in the morning and reducing puffiness. So that's why we're doing it. Also, it just feels really good. So get yourself an ice roller. And let me know, what do you think is something that you need to be perfect at? Some of mine are at work. Definitely at work, I feel like I need to be perfect on my game all the time. I've recently let go of trying to be perfect for my videos and my lives because one, it's impossible while you're in the learning phase. I'm still in the learning phase of understanding how to make videos and how to produce things. Everything is a test. Everything is, trying something new. So that's where we're at with that. Cooking is also another one where I find myself needing to bake something perfect or make some bread. Now that I know how to make bread, I get so frustrated when it doesn't come out just the right way that I want because that means I messed up something and I should know this. I'm good at making bread now. I know how to make bread, but it's not going to be perfect every single time. Even after you learn a skill, you're still going to make mistakes. There's still things you can get wrong, and that's okay. Each day is a new day, and you have a million things that you're doing at any given time. Bread's actually a really good example because that's the one I got most impatient with recently. That and driving. This one's the opposite. I expect other people to be perfect drivers on the road, or at least just so, like slightly more considerate. I guess that one doesn't count because I do expect other people to be good drivers on the road and public highways. And a lot of the times they're really selfish. If you've driven in California, you know exactly what I mean. And I'm sure there's other places that I haven't driven where people are crazy drivers. What do we want to talk about this morning? I've seen some really interesting articles and is that two articles and what are those called? Little, I guess they're cartoons, but they're graphic informations of like things that will change the way you think. And a lot of them are simple visualizations that just kind of change your perspective on something. And they're oftentimes really helpful to take a step back from how you think about things and approach it in a different way. Let me see if I can find one of the ones that I was looking at yesterday. Oh, and today, for anyone that's wondering, I will be opening the box and I will be posting a video of what's inside the box. So stay tuned. If you're also curious, the box is getting opened. 9 visuals that will change the way you think forever. These ones aren't as good. These ones are a little more complex. But let me see if I can show you. Like this one. I cannot. Okay. I can't get it to focus. So this is a good one. So this is 2 images of different dinosaurs, right? This one says comparing yourself with others. This one says comparing yourself with what you did yesterday. Good morning, Betsy. So when we look to compare ourselves, what is that? Is that our ego? Is that our pain body, which is an ego? What do you think it is when we compare ourselves to others to make ourselves feel worse or better about ourselves? Sometimes we do the opposite, right? We compare ourselves and say, oh, well, they're only this far, so I'm good, right? Why do we compare ourselves to other people and their journeys instead of comparing ourselves back to ourselves? In part, this is a human condition to understand where we fall within society. It's a survival mechanism to an extent. But that additional emotional intelligence and self-awareness needs to be there to help us remove that aspect of helpfulness, right? Like take out whatever is helpful when comparing ourselves to others and fill in the rest with comparing it to our own progress and adapting the way we see it in a more healthy, productive way. Because I can compare myself to, let's say, Margot Robbie, right, all day. But realistically, we're in 2 different life phases. And why is she the star of the Barbie movie? I don't know. Why was she the star of 10 like she's been a movie actress for 10, 20 years. So clearly she's been doing this for a very long time. She's crafted her skills. She's put the time, the effort. That's something I haven't done. So if you're comparing one thing, if you're comparing one thing in life, how can you take a step back and realize where the differences are to feel better about not needing to live up to that comparison for yourself? Or to allow the other person to not have to live up to the comparison of you. Because we do that a lot too. We tend to put others down to make ourselves feel good or raise others up to make ourselves feel down and shame ourselves and guilt ourselves into be doing more. That's another reason I like doing the introspection into my life. You see so much of what I do because I post shorts. I post a lot of shorts. I post a video or 2 every single day of things that are going on. We talk live here. You see a lot of what happens in my progression. I talk a lot about the struggles that I'm having as a creator. It's a very black and white, kind of process that I'm trying to lay out. So anyone that's looking 5 years from now at my success, they can go back and there's a very clear pathway that I can show them. Here's the exact steps that I took and how long it took me to get there. Here's what I learned along the way. Here's the mistakes I made. You're going to have to go make your own mistakes for 5 years to get to where I'm at. But in that time, I'm going to be making 5 more years of mistakes and learning more and more and more. We've all got our different pathways and we've all got our different journeys that we're on. So I do want to know if anyone's comfortable sharing, what are the things that you hold yourself to be perfect to? What are those things that you are extra hard on yourself that you wouldn't be hard on a friend for? Another big one for me is cleaning. I want my house to be clean so bad. I want to pick something up and know exactly where it's going to go and not forget midway in between my journey of taking it to its spot and get distracted and pick something else up. That would be a dream life. But I know I can't. I physically cannot do that. That is not how my brain works. I have ADHD. We are a spastic little squirrel. And we pick things up and put them down 100 times a day. If I wasn't holding my coffee in my hand, I would forget it exists. And then it would get cold. And then I would have cold coffee to drink that I'd either have to go put in the microwave or toss because it got cold and yucky. I have thought of getting one of those little like mug warmers. I don't know if you have seen this, but you can get like a little electronic mug warmer that keeps your coffee cup warm. It sits on it and it's like a heater. My boyfriend actually has a ember mug that heats or keeps the temperature regulated of the actual coffee. I won it in some giveaway and it's too small for me, so I gave it to him. But those are two solutions I could look into, but I'm too lazy to do that. So we're just going to stick to holding my coffee so I don't forget about it. There was something else I wanted to share with you. And of course, my brain, it just disappeared. Oh, the best advice I gave last week. So I deal with, this sounds like I'm a therapist or something. I'm not a therapist. I have an associate's degree in psychology and I research it a lot on my own. So please never take anything that I am giving you advice as like, this is the only way to do it. This is just me sharing how I've learned to do it and hopes that it will inspire other people to have the courage and bravery to explore it on their own. But I do have a lot of people that I give advice to that have anxiety. I used to have anxiety. I have anxiety. It hasn't gone away. I just have a better time managing it and dealing with it. Grant has anxiety. My whole family has anxiety. So anxiety is something I'm very, very familiar with. But the person I was most recently giving this advice to is on a very rudimentary path of understanding their anxiety, feeling like they can overcome their anxiety, and just the anxiety running their life. And so I gave them the advice, your anxiety is lying to you, right? You don't have to listen to it. Whatever your anxiety is telling you, it's not true. But they're at a point where they don't even know the difference or what anxiety is when it pops up, right? It's a difficulty of understanding what emotion is coming up and the overwhelming feeling and urgency that comes with anxiety and not knowing what to do with it. So I gave them this advice that our emotions are tools, right? Our emotions are our body's way of communicating with us. Our job is not to fall into the direction of whatever we think our body wants us to do. It's to listen to what our body is telling us. And anxiety, a lot of the times, is a heightened awareness and response, preparing our body to do whatever it is that we're anxious about. It is not a, hey, don't do this. It's a, oh, is that what you're going to do right now? All right, let's Let's do it. You're going to need this extra processing power, right? Our brains need more blood. Our whatevers need more heightened awareness. You go into that fight or flight mode in your body so you can better handle whatever thing is in front of you. And then once you do whatever you're anxious about a few times, your body realizes, oh, okay, we don't need all of that to do it. But we can scale back. Okay, it's not, here's where we really are. That's you communicating back with your body, letting it know. That's how you regulate your nervous system. You're letting your body know, here's the level we need to be at to do this task. And I think that visualization of the communication between your body and your mind and what anxiety really is, it's a communication tool. Every emotion we feel is your body's communication tool to you to help process whatever situation you're in. So if you're sad, if you're grieving someone, those are things that you cannot get away from. It is your body's natural, healthy response to whatever situation you're in. Your significant other, not significant other, I hope nobody's significant other passes away, but it happens, right? You go through that grief, that pain, that emotion. That's what your body needs to process an emotion and get over that event. You can't run away or hide from those emotions because then they'll just come up and manifest in other ways. They're something that you need to do to be healthy. Anger. Why are you angry? Is this a deflection? Is this a hit on your ego? Are you embarrassed of something? Are you disrespected by someone? What is the communication of the anger that your body's trying to tell you? You have anxiety, but you have to take meds for it. I know a lot of people that meds have really helped them. My anxiety was probably at one point where I should have had meds for my panic attacks, but I didn't because I didn't know that was a thing. And then I built the awareness through brute force of understanding when I was having anxiety attacks and kind of learning how to regulate my nervous system so that I didn't have them as frequently. I still have anxiety attacks. Don't get me wrong. I still have night terrors that I wake up from. That's why I was awake at 1 a.m. this morning. So don't ever let me make you feel like it goes away. That anxiety isn't something that just goes away. You can't cure anxiety. There's no fix for it. It is something that you can learn to regulate and live with better. You can learn tools to adapt your life around it so it doesn't control you. And medication is a way and a tool to do that. So, but that being said, there is an extra step you can take past medication to understand your body's communication and try to change your perspective on what your anxiety is, how it manifests in your body, and what it's trying to tell you. I used to get anxious a lot at work, and this was something I didn't realize was a attachment style. So the anxious and avoidant and secure attachment styles, for me, this manifested in my work as well. My anxious attachment style started showing up in the workplace, and I was sucked into the dysfunction and unhealthy relationship I had with work. And it wasn't until I healed my attachment style in relationships that I was able to also heal my anxiety and attachment style with work and how I presented myself, how I dove into things, right? How I committed myself to taking on more projects, how I was used and abused and let people take advantage of me in the workplace, how I didn't advocate for myself, how I stayed long hours and let people, take credit for my work. There was a lot of not standing up for myself in the workplace. There was a lot of fear of rejection, fear of getting fired. Um, there was a lot of catering to people's egos. I worked in an environment where the main person, the president of the company, was a raging narcissist, and I had to placate to their emotions and their fluctuating, ranges on a daily basis. Those were all things that also came up in relationships that I had. And I finally saw the tie between the two in the relationship of how it's a very similar comparison of your personal relationships, what you feel with your significant other, and how you have a relationship with work. If one is dysfunctional, the chances of the other being dysfunctional are probably pretty high. I think that's a connection that a lot of people haven't realized, or we feel a stronger need for a job. So we put up with a lot more. We tend to focus on things we can't change versus what's healthy for us. And by that I mean we get sucked into, well, any job is going to suck. So what's the point of trying to change this? What's the point of standing up for myself? What's the point of making it more difficult, right? Because any job that I have is going to be terrible because jobs suck. I like the freedom that I have here, right? We always pick one or two things that we can kind of live with, that we tell ourselves are a good thing about whatever the job was. And I hear this for people that are still at my old place of business. They say things like the flexibility, the freedom I have to do things on the side. But if they were paid an appropriate wage, maybe they wouldn't have to have a side gig to supplement their income. Maybe they could have a full-time job with work-life balance and they wouldn't have to drive, up and down the state of California every day. I digress. But the two things that came out of that job were my self kind of what's that word? Self-respect, one, and my imposter syndrome was triggered there because I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was building for them. I knew what I introduced for their company. I knew the direct correlation to the activities I was doing and the money they were making. I created this brand for them that then attracted people that wanted to work for them, which is how they made their money. It was a mortgage company. So the more loan officers they have putting their loans into the bank, the more money they make. And it was directly correlated to the brand that I had helped build and develop and curate and announce to the world. So I knew that I could advocate for more money. And I did advocate for more money twice. And I did get raises twice. But then I started to make too much. I started to ask for too much. And it was easier to replace me with someone younger who would ask less questions and was cheaper than to deal with me anymore. So I was pushed out. Someone else was let in. And that's how the cycle goes at that company still to this day. But that directly ties into my relationships and how that cycle went as well. I would get with someone and my needs were too much. I was asking for too much for them. They didn't have the capacity to handle me. That's not how they are. So if I wanted to be with them, I would have to, sacrifice on my needs, basically. And it was a lot of manipulation. It was a lot of gaslighting. It was a lot of verbal abuse, right? All of those things. But when you're in it, you can't see any of that. When you're in it, you're made to believe that you're the crazy one. That, yeah, you are asking for things that are way too much. Like, why would that even be something that you're considering. Like, you can't even give me this one thing. So why are you asking for four things? Well, because the four things I was asking for were basic standard relationship things, and the one thing that you want is something that is manipulation. So, but the realization of my unhealthy relationship with work helped me overcome all of that personally so that I could have a healthier relationship in my personal life. So now I have a healthy relationship in my personal life and at work. I work for an amazing company. And it's someplace where we're encouraged and allowed to set boundaries and express our individuality and contribute in different ways and take breaks, and we're compensated fairly. So they are out there. The good jobs are out there, and you are not stuck at a job that makes you hate your life. Just remember that. Okay. It is almost 7:30. I will wrap this up. We will touch base next Tuesday. And I am moving my marketing live from this Thursday to next Thursday because I have someone that wants a specific kind of structured session about launching a TikTok page for their company. So I'm going to work with her and give her some live advice, and hopefully it will be helpful for anybody else that is looking to promote their business on social media. I will see you then. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. I hope everyone has a wonderful day and it does not get too hot. So I will see you all later.